up to day 3 of our road trip. Today we are going to start off in Harrisburg, Virginia, and then we are going to travel and drive 35 miles of the Shenandoah National Forest and end up in Stamford, Connecticut. So I know I didn't cover a lot of the actual van camping on this 3-day road trip. We tried to sleep as little as possible, meaning that we slept about 6 hours each night, and I have to say we were not expecting it to get that cold. It was down in the 30s both of the nights that we camped on the way up and on the night that we came back. So we ended up having to go to a Walmart and get some extra blankets. We have a small electric heater, but it turns out our battery pack wouldn't power it, so we were without heat. And it did get pretty cold. We had to snuggle up. And again, we woke up pretty early in the morning just because we were so cold and we had to get on the road and continue to go and get warm. After arriving in Harrisburg, we did try to go to the Walmart, and there was a Home Depot, and there were several other stores in the shopping center that we slept over at, thinking that maybe we could actually get a 12-volt heater and that would not drain our battery that we had. It would actually run off the 12-volt plugs. But I guess in Harrisburg, everything closes at 9 p.m., so we rolled into town at about 8:55. We got to the Walmart, and then by the time we got out, everything else around us was closed. So that was kind of a strange experience that everything closes down in that town, or at least in the area of it that we were at 9 p.m. And we did have a van camping first along the way, in such that we stopped at a Planet Fitness along the way to stop and use the showers because we have a Planet Fitness membership. And that's the first time we had done something like that, and it actually worked out perfectly. And unfortunately, I can't remember what town we're rolling through right now, but it was still in the morning as we were driving from our Harrisburg, Virginia location up to the Shenandoah National Park. Now, we actually didn't plan on driving this route on our last leg of the trip. We were going to go from Virginia straight up to Pennsylvania and then stop for a quick attraction along the way in the state of PA before making our way over to New Jersey and Connecticut. But when we realized how close we were to this place called Skyline Drive, which is in the Shenandoah mountain range in the state park or the national forest, I can't remember which one it is, we just decided that we had to go experience that and that we could do some of the things in Pennsylvania some other time. I'd also like to make a quick comment about bagels. So everybody always says that you can't get a really good bagel outside of the New York and tri-state area, and I really didn't believe it until moving to Florida. Sure, they have bagel places in Florida, but it is correct that the bagels are not the same. So we were absolutely thrilled that by the time we got up towards Harrisburg, knew that they actually had decent bagels again. And a quick comment here about how cool it is that we have Google Earth. So some places where it was too dark to take a picture or I just didn't think about it at the time, I can just Google map it and then drop the little person in and get a road view or get an overhead view of it later. I even Google mapped the Skyline Drive, and the road is so narrow and small that I couldn't see the whole thing when I zoomed out far enough to see the whole thing. So I had to take 3 different screenshots of the map and then piece them together in a basic Pages document, but all in all it worked. After the fact, how cool. Alright, and then I want you to listen to the original audio on the next little clip I'm going to play. And you're going to hear this zzz background fuzzy noise.
There's a point up there. Okay. Right now.
Did you hear it? It's gross sounding, right? So it turns out whenever I used the video camera on my camera well in the vehicle, it made that sound. So I'm not sure if it's picking up vibrations from the car, but I basically had to filter out everything that we said to each other when I was using my camera in the car because that sound is throughout all of it and it really ruins the audio quality. Now, when I'm not in the vehicle, that never happens, and I've noticed it before, but I never made the connection until just using those footages for this video. Oh, and let me additionally comment that the windows were closed.
It's true. I had no idea we would see foliage on this trip.
All in all, though, the scenery and the driving were just beautiful, and it was really, really nice to get to see all this new stuff. And sorry for all of the reflections and glares that you can see from the window. Most of the time, if the window is closed, you can see sunspots, the reflection of the camera lens, or even the reflection of us in the glare of the window. But oh well, it was just too pretty not to have my camera out. So, the reason we took this road trip in the first place was not actually for a vacation or something that we were just like, yeah, we got to go do this. It was actually to attend a funeral back in Connecticut, where I'm from. So, we figured, well, we don't have very much time, but we made the drive down in 3 days, and we probably could have done it in two when we originally came down to Florida 2 years ago. So, rather than driving the same route down, or sorry, rather than driving back the same route that we came down, we decided to cut into the interior and take this longer route, and we're really glad we did. It was very relaxing, and we got to just see parts of the U.S. and places that we'd not been before. On our way back home, we did make a really quick beeline. We made it back home in 2 days. We got from New York, Connecticut area all the way down to the tip of North Carolina on the first day, and again stayed overnight in a Walmart. And then we stopped at Charleston, South Carolina for just a couple hours on the morning of the sixth day as we were coming home, just to have some breakfast and see the town. And I didn't really record or document any of the ride home. Again, it's kind of a route that we went on 2 years ago when we came down to Florida in the first place. And even though we stopped in different locations for the overnights, the last day of our trip, day 6, was all about just pressing onward and getting back home so that we could be ready for work the next day and back to the grind. Finally, we are now entering the park. We told ourselves it would just be an hour-long drive, and we ended up taking 4. I believe the roadway that covers more of the entire park is at least 100 miles, if not a little bit more than that. At the point that we entered, we ended up driving 35 miles of the park. Looking back, it would have been really nice to have longer time there, maybe even camp out there and really get to explore a little bit deeper. We didn't even really get to hike or go down any of the trails. It was all just a road trip, but nonetheless, we were really happy that we made this detour. Much of the roads on the 35-mile drive look like the one you're seeing right now, and then you would come to these pullovers with these beautiful vistas and views. Truthfully, I couldn't imagine driving more of it in one day. It's just overwhelming and it's too much to take in. And so, 35 miles of it, at least for us, was just enough for that one day. We were also lucky because the weather was absolutely gorgeous. Despite it being cold overnight and going down to the 30s, every day that we were there, it went up to at least the 60s, if not into the 70s, so we had perfect weather. Okay, and the point at which I'm at right now making this video, I still have 18 minutes of video and photo footage all from the Shenandoah Park. So I am going to get to editing and trying to trim it down to something that's watchable and manageable, and hopefully find a pretty song and let you just enjoy the views.
Sunrise, maybe.
Sunsets. Sunrise? I don't know. Sunrise.
Like to try.
I would like you to do it again.
I had all these are all grown up as a kid.
Just like when you were a kid.
I'll hear you first.
sorry to end it this way. Well, we're back in New Jersey. As you can tell, the scenery is quite different. In total, for the last 3 days, we ended up driving 822 miles on day 1, 402 miles on day 2, 389 miles on day 3, totaling 1,622 miles. We arrived in Connecticut Thursday night at around 7:30 p.m., stayed all day Friday for the funeral, and then left Saturday morning at 8 a.m. For our ride home, we went straight down I-95. And day 1 of the drive took us 759 miles, day 2 of that drive 485 miles, totaling 1,270 miles on the drive home. And so in total, over our 5-day van camping trip from Florida to Connecticut and back, we drove 2,839 miles. We van camped all 3 nights that we stayed over in Walmart parking lots. We took 2 dogs and a bird. We got to see lots of new places. We really enjoyed ourselves, and I'm glad we got to take this van camping drive. And as always, thanks for watching. Happy RV adventures, happy van travels, and happy whatever it is you like to do.